at ICSC 2023 with my friend, the canvassing queen, Beth Azor. Here, give me your hand there, Beth. How you doing?
I'm doing
Beth
great.
just spoke here at ICSC in an awesome panel, and got a couple questions for Beth. As you probably now, what is your website? What is your blog called?
BethAzor.com.
So it's BethAzor.com, and they can subscribe to your YouTube there.
Yeah, YouTube.
You're on
300
YouTube.
videos on YouTube on how to lease space.
Her videos are really cool, especially the one about Blockbuster, and we're going to get into that. You never want to have a real big head. You got to be level, and
Don't
she goes,
be arrogant.
Don't be arrogant, and you need to qualify the deal. If you don't qualify the deal, you're going to lose out on money, and so that's so important. And Beth's going to talk about that. So Beth, a couple questions about leasing. You're an owner, right?
I am. I own
Now,
shopping centers in South Florida.
do you represent landlords at all, or just yourself?
I do have a couple landlords that I represent on like an assignment basis.
Okay,
Yes.
an assignment basis. So right now, what do you see as the easiest footprint in retail, the easiest to release?
Drive-throughs. Second generation restaurants with drive-throughs, you can't keep them in stock.
Okay,
And the rents are 40% more than they were pre-COVID.
So 40, really?
Yes, yeah. 40% more.
Gone
Yeah.
up, right? Okay. So I was recently working with a client of mine that we financed his fast food, and he was having some issues with his tenant, and I was going to go in and put in the $300,000 of my money to help to do the TIs and the LCs, and he was going to pay me a certain return. That was our deal. But we got lucky. The franchisee, because I did the loan, I wanted to make sure he was successful. So the franchisee changed the concept. He went from one concept to another, and it seems to be working out. The old concept wasn't working out.
Wow.
But I transition. Why I bring this up, what do you do as far as how are most landlords financing TILCs on a center that they're re-tenanting?
So I think some are getting, refinancing and getting construction loans. I'm in the middle of, I just signed a lease with Wawa, a ground lease, and I extended my loan on my building to add to include the site costs, which were in excess of 1.5 million. So I expanded or increased my loan amount to do that work. But some, we also considered it doing out of pocket with the partners. So it just depends. Right now, with interest rates being much higher than they were when I did the Wawa loan.
When did you do the Wawa loan?
About 3 years ago.
And what was so at that time, was it a construction loan or a bridge loan?
4.3%.
Construction?
Yep.
And when did it mature?
It started when Wawa got their permit, and we had a hard. So
what year was that again?
We started the negotiations 3 years ago. We probably closed the loan. The loan wasn't in effect until we got the signed lease with Wawa, which was about 2 years ago.
And so now,
but today I probably would just fund it out of pocket because the interest rates are just crazy.
So you just use your own cash.
Yeah.
Do the and that was for. Now, what were you doing now with it? You just mentioned we're
doing the site work for the Wawa right now.
Okay, so you're doing the site work for the Wawa.
And then once we do the site work, we deliver it to Wawa, and they build their building and do their thing.
You're the canvassing queen.
I am.
Right here, the canvassing queen. Woo! What is the process, Beth, for canvassing? Like, I thought I would, on a brokerage side, I do mostly financing, but I thought it'd be fun to try to represent landlords with smaller centers, just to get like Jersey Mike's or Starbucks or whoever in these inline centers. But your method, you talk about in some of your videos that I've watched, you actually go to various businesses and canvas right there.
Yeah.
How does it work?
I walk in with a flyer and I say, hey, have you thought about expanding your business? I own shopping centers in the area, or I represent shopping centers in the area. We just went down to put up our last 2 coming soon signs, and while we're driving, a medical center, a van with medical center lettering drove by us, and I think they listed 8 locations. Yeah. So we took a picture of the van, and we're going to cold call them. So you never know when you're going to get ideas for new prospects. So keep your eyes open.
but
in
you
the
don't
area.
ask for the owner
No.
because then they're going to get offended. That's
Yes.
what Beth says. So what do you do? What's your process?
I just walk in, and I don't care if the person's 11. I think if they're 11, they're probably the kid of the owner. And you give that gatekeeper respect, and then that gatekeeper always gives me the owner's name and number.
Okay. You know what?
It's a
And
win-win.
when I have my people, my interns calling,
Yeah.
I tell them the same thing. And it goes in one ear and out the other ear. I tell them, when you call people, identify, like if you're calling on ICSC people, when you get that person on the phone, the first thing you want to do is, hi, I hear you're going to ICSC. Do you need net lease financing? Because if you don't say that, they're going to be like, this could be just a normal cold call, and bang, they're going to hang up right away.
Yeah, if you don't say, I have
right?
shopping centers I want to lease, they think you're the cable guy, or
Yeah,
that you're selling
cable.
Wi-Fi.
So they're like, what are you calling me about? And I got to go, bye.
Yep.
How can you mitigate risk if you've got a weak tenant? As far as like when I was going to go on this deal, I was going to put my earn $300,000 into. The tenant wasn't really strong, okay? So we mentioned a deposit that the tenant, I guess, would give a deposit. What are some other ways to mitigate risk?
You want to
if your
check
tenant isn't too strong.
I wouldn't do the deal.
Just don't do the deal, period.
I wouldn't give, if the tenant's not strong, let's say they have low credit,
or bad credit.
Yeah, bad credit. If they have bad credit and you really want them, let's say your vacancy is very high and you are willing to take the risk, don't put a lot of TI in the deal. Make them take it as is.
Right.
Make them give 2 months security deposit. That's the kind of stuff that you want to do to mitigate your risk as a landlord. So if they take it as is and they put their own money in and they give you 2 months security deposit, then great. And if they win, you win. If they are risky, you shouldn't put money in that deal.
Right. I've heard, like I had a Dollar General deal, investment grade credit, and the guy sold out into this fast food, and the broker said that it had an intrinsic value, but in his situation, he really needed that surety of rent coming in. And if you're going to look at the intrinsic value, you better have staying power and the cash to carry that deal, right? Because if the tenant goes out, one, you're going to have to re-tenant the building. That could be $300,000 to $500,000. Two, you're going to have to start paying the property tax and the insurance because it's not triple net anymore. You don't have a tenant. Okay, so you better have staying power if you're going into intrinsic deals. How do you analyze term versus rent versus TILC cost? So what I mean by that, for our specific center, the tenant wants to do a 10-year lease, and we're going to have to put in maybe $300 or $400 for the TILCs, and they're saying we may have to upgrade our roof, which could be another $400. That's $700,000, and they only want to do a 10-year lease. So I don't know if the rent makes sense. That's why I would think you want a longer lease. Is that correct?
If you can get a longer lease, that would be great. But here's the deal: with or without the tenant, you're going to have to put in a new roof. If you ever want to lease it,
we're
you
gonna have to do the roof.
So
no
that
matter
should
what.
not be part of the tenant's economic deal.
Yeah, that's our deal.
Right?
Yes.
Because that's why you own
Agreed.
shopping centers. You have to have those responsibilities.
All right.
But if you
All
can,
right.
so
You're bringing me down to reality.
there you go.
Awesome. Well, is there any other tips for landlords or new people that are getting into leasing that you can give as far as prospecting for good tenants? Because you're the canvassing queen.
Yeah, it's canvassing and then DMing on social media, Instagram and Facebook. You can get right past the gatekeeper when you DM, and that's how I do it. And here we're at ICSC, so we're going to be meeting with all the national tenants, right? Setting up appointments in advance.
Yes.
So
that's another question.
How fortunate we are that we're in an industry that gives us this opportunity to have
Right.
to be the match, be in a matchmaking speed dating situation.
So,
right?
yes. So, what is your objective of ICSC? What's your biggest primary objective and then a secondary objective of coming?
I have meetings with retailers that I want to put in. I have a deal under contract I'm trying to buy, so
All right.
I'm meeting with tenants for that. I have landlords that are hiring that we're meeting for for us to discuss me training their leasing team on canvassing.
Okay.
I'm meeting with people that are selling properties, so I am talking to them to see if I can come to meet them at the price that they want, so I can build my portfolio up.
Awesome, awesome. So now, how should you want landlords, right, that are watching this, to call you?
Sure.
Or people, if you have any vacant fast food deals, she may buy them. Call her. She's looking for deals, right? You want deals.
I want deals.
You want deals.
I want deals. I want deals. Bring
What
me
is it?
deals.
I don't know if you've seen Ben Mala. That's what he says. I want to make money. I want to make
do. Look for deals. That's where you make the money. Is it easy? Not anymore. Everybody and their grandma's chasing the same deals. So you got a lot of competition now. But you got to put the time in, and you got to be better than the next guy. You got to look at the stuff, and you got to find some kind of way you can make some money on it. You got to find something maybe somebody else hasn't seen.
We all want to make money. So how do they call you on your cell?
305-970-0416. 305-970-0416.
Awesome, Beth. Thank you so
Thanks,
much for
Chris.
your time. Have
Thank
a great
you.
ICSC.
You too.
Let's do this again. What
All
do you
right.
say? All right.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.